Greetings, everyone. Today is Monday, August 3rd, and we're glad to be back again to share with you an update on COVID-19 in the Chippewa Valley, to give you some recent data for both the state and for Eau Claire, and to share a little perspective on what is happening in the community. Today we have Janet Loomis here, our Eau Claire County Clerk, to talk a bit about the elections, which are happening next week. And again, Luke Feedy from Department of Human Services talking a bit about mental health as an important topic as we all continue to walk the road of COVID-19 in our community. We'll have updates on a variety of topics. Do note that I am wearing my mask today during this briefing, and we will do that moving forward. We do have multiple people in this room, and as we've talked about before, the best practice continues to be making sure that we are protecting one another as we go about our work. Keeping 6 feet distance is our primary way to support the slowing of the spread of this disease. And of course, we do that in this setting, and I'm hoping in other settings people are making that choice in a continued way. But adding cloth face covering in indoor environments is also a really important strategy. So today, our total negative counts for the state of Wisconsin for COVID-19 tests are at 911,435, an increase of more than 6,700 since yesterday. Total positive cases of COVID-19, people that have been found to be positive, are at 55,328, an increase of 404 since yesterday. 4,732 Wisconsin residents have been hospitalized, an increase of 15, and we have one additional of our Wisconsin family who's died of COVID-19. We're now at 949 individuals that have died related to this COVID-19 pandemic. The 7-day average in Wisconsin for new cases has been pretty steady for the last 2 weeks, around 900 or so cases a day. Yesterday's case number on the weekends and again from yesterday to today is lower than that, but our average number of cases per day across the state continues to be fairly high and has been high over the last number of days, as we talked about last week. As of yesterday, the statewide 14-day positivity rate was 9.6%. In Eau Claire, our update of negative tests done for COVID-19 is now at 13,833 negative tests, an increase of 324 negative since Friday. Positive, people that have tested positive for COVID-19 in Eau Claire County are now at 507 individuals, an increase of 33 since Friday. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday case numbers, that addition of 33 includes. We now have a continuing number of 3 people have died and 25 people have ever been hospitalized. 428 of the 507 positive cases have recovered. Eau Claire County Jail numbers that we report on Mondays, we have 45 individuals tested, 7 positives as we've previously reported, with 7 recovered cases. It was a challenging weekend for our team. Not only did we have the increased case numbers that I shared with you earlier, but 12 cases on Friday, 11 new cases on Saturday, and 18 new cases on Sunday. Smaller number of cases today. But again, we are seeing double-digit case numbers each day the last few days. Many of those cases had a high number of contacts for each case, which means a lot of contact tracing is happening. We continue to ask people in Eau Claire to keep your circle small. That will make an enormous difference in slowing the spread of this disease. Things like play dates and social gatherings and family parties are all ways that we are seeing disease spread in this community. Please make choices to keep your circle small, to not attend large group gatherings where you're interacting with people. We know it's hard. We know that those kinds of gatherings are what we like to do, especially during the summer. But the spread of disease will happen in those situations if we are not paying attention. If you're gathering with others, we continue to want people to wear a face mask, wear that cloth face covering, be outdoors as much as possible, and keep 6 feet distance. Those are the ways that we will find lower spread of disease happening. In Eau Claire, we continue to have around a 5% 14-day positivity rate, with, again, new cases every day that we are trying to keep as flat as possible. We know that we will have cases, and that's not a surprise, but to keep that number as low as possible each day is our goal. We've also discussed previously that we do make a public notification when we learn of someone who has tested positive for COVID-19 and they've been in close contact with other people who they cannot name or come up with the contact information for. If we have a situation where there are individuals that were potentially exposed to a COVID positive person because of a close contact, and we have no way to reach them, we are doing a potential exposure notification. Last Friday, we announced for the first time in a couple of weeks that we had one of those situations. We announced that there was a potential exposure at Shenanigans Bar on Sunday, July 26th from 1:45 to 2:30 a.m. It's a reminder to people that if they are out and if they are not staying physically distanced like is required, that there may be a potential exposure. If someone was at that establishment during those times, we strongly encourage them to carefully monitor their symptoms and get tested for COVID-19. You can be tested by contacting your healthcare provider or call our call center if you don't know where to go for testing. There's also information available on our website at covid19eauclaire.org. The call center number, as a reminder, is 715-831-7425. We also have a new report available on our website. It's called our Situation Report. It's an update that we publish weekly that has a summary of information related to things that have happened with COVID-19 in our community. You can get that situation update at the covid19eauclaire.org website. You can also choose to sign up to have it emailed to you weekly. Typically, those situation reports are available on Thursday mornings, and it is another way to have a quick touch point of data and information available to you about COVID-19 in Eau Claire. We encourage you to look for that on our website. Finally, we know that there are many questions related to the mask mandate from the state that went into effect on Saturday. Many of you have called our call center to ask questions, and we certainly see that as a resource for you. There is a question and answer document that the state did put together when they released the order last week. We are submitting questions to the state to get further clarification around some of the areas that many of us have questions about. We hope to have that from the state as soon as they're able to process through those questions and update their Q&A document. We will get that out to all of you when we get more information. Our goal continues to be that people wear a mask when they are out in public, when they are going to indoor places, and that they follow the order that the state has given us. We really appreciate those people in Eau Claire that are wearing a mask. I notice that, and I think people across the community are noticing when people are making that choice and following the order. We know it's not something that we're all used to doing. I remembered today that I had the wrong mask in my purse, and it doesn't quite match my outfit. But we all can get used to doing this, and we can make it normal for each other by having a mask with us at all times, by using it when we are in places where it's mandated. And we can lead by example and show people that this is not a big deal. This is a simple way that we can slow the spread of disease. There are many, many difficult ways, most of which we have had over the course of the spring where we had to stay home. We don't want that to happen again. We want to use the simple methods to slow the spread of disease, and this is a way that we can do that. The data and the research shows that it can make a difference, and we all should be leaning in and doing that for each other. We also want to make sure that people understand that when they are contacts or cases who have tested positive for COVID-19, that some employers are saying that they can't return to work and that they can return to work with a negative test before their quarantine or isolation is completed. Please do know that CDC and the state require the mandated isolation and quarantine following either a positive test result or a close contact determination. A negative test result during the course of that isolation and quarantine does not change the amount of time that someone needs to be isolated or quarantined. We do want close contacts, to be tested, but a negative test result does not mean that a return to work can happen. Remember that an individual that's been exposed to someone that has COVID-19, they can become ill with COVID-19 anytime during that 14-day quarantine period. The disease can maybe not show symptoms before then, but you anytime during those 14 days could become symptomatic and be a case. We need people to stay home 14 days, even if they've had a negative test result. We also continue to hear about scams related to contact tracing. Do know that nobody calling from the health department that is calling you because you are a close contact to a case or you are a case will be trying to sell you anything, will be asking you to pay for anything, or will be asking you for information like Social Security numbers. We will talk to you about your address. We will talk to you about the results of tests and what you need to do next. If people have questions about whether someone that's left a message or someone they've talked to is a legitimate contact tracer, please don't hesitate to call our health department main phone line. That's 715-839-4718, and ask. They can connect you directly then to an individual that can talk and walk through the information that you need to know as a contact or a case. So now, Janet Loomis, our Eau Claire County Clerk, is going to talk a bit about voting. And then following Janet, we will have Luke Feedy from Behavioral Health Services again share with you a bit about mental health. And then I'll be back to field questions for all three of us and close out our news spot with you. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Janet Loomis, the Eau Claire County Clerk, and I want to thank you for letting me join you today to talk about the August partisan primary, which is a week from Tuesday, August 11th. All polling places will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The safe voting processes will be in place as they were for the April election. 6-foot distancing, one-time use marking pens, if possible, entering one door and exiting another, sanitizing voting booths between voters. A voter will not be denied a ballot if they do not wear a face covering, but a face covering is recommended. Any voter that does not want to go to the polling places on Election Day, there is absentee voting going on right now, but it ends on Friday. You do need to contact your municipal clerk. In the city of Eau Claire, they're doing drive-through absentee voting, but that's, of course, only if you live in the city of Eau Claire. That's going on from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Until this coming Friday. All other municipalities, you do need to contact that municipal clerk. Thank you.
Good Monday afternoon. And thanks, Janet. I'm going to encourage everybody to do their civic duty and get out and vote when the time comes. So, as we all have continued to navigate this COVID-19 pandemic, we are confronted with many different emotions. One emotion that many of us experience but few of us talk about is grief and loss. Many of us have had feelings of loss throughout this pandemic. Some of us have lost loved ones to the virus. Some of us have lost social interactions that help define who and what we are. There have been financial losses as well. While some industries have thrived throughout the pandemic, others have had to lay people off and cut positions. For those individuals that have been laid off or let go, they're grieving that loss of financial stability. We've all had expectations for our lives as well. Things look a lot different than they did prior to COVID. Graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays, we have a picture in our head of what these should look like, and it's been very different from what we might expect. We end up grieving the loss of those expectations when things become different. Grief and loss, they're a complex process. They involve a whole host of feelings. And often it's easy to avoid talking about feeling sad or depressed. And this often allows our grief to persist. We know that time can help heal grief, but it's often about what we do in that time that helps us move through it more quickly. It's important to know that we don't have to experience grief alone. Many of us are feeling the same feelings, and we don't know what those feelings are until we start to share them or process them with others. When we share what we are feeling with our friends, our family, our coworkers, we give them permission to talk about what they're feeling as well. And oftentimes we can find some common ground with one another. It's the first step in really starting to support one another. It's often helpful to put words to what we're feeling. Writing things down, journaling our experiences allow us to identify what all those feelings are when they're complex. And then we can think more clearly about finding solutions that are helpful. Grief and loss are fluid processes. We may feel anger, denial, frustration, happiness, contentment, acceptance, sadness. This is all through the course of dinner. So a lot of things can happen in a short period of time. The important thing to remember is that this is normal. Grief is normal. And feeling these feelings helps us move through these processes and helps us find our way out. We are in this together. When we support one another, we become stronger together. At the end of the day, that's what makes Eau Claire the great community that it is. So if you need support, please seek out that support. And if you can help someone else, please take that opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Thank you to both Luke and Janet. We do have an opportunity, an obligation to vote. We do have an opportunity and an obligation to reach out to one another and find ways to support one another. And I appreciate the reminders from both of them about that. I will say that we would like you to continue to go to our website where we have up-to-date information and data. That data is updated daily, and the new information is added as we know about it. We also have social media available for those that use that resource. Again, COVID-19, eauclaire.org, and the call center, 715-831-7425. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk about our most recent data. That is our Facebook streaming event on Wednesday, so look for us there. And now we can answer some questions. All three of us are available. Yes?
The question is there expected to be a lack of poll workers and equipment, you said? I have talked to all 18 clerks, and they all feel very comfortable with the amount of poll workers they have.
Any additional questions? Yes.
Again, relating to elections, relating to so it looks like in virus cases after the first elections this spring, does that mean, that if you're not as worried as, like, August and moving down the road in November?
So the question really is, what are we expecting with the election related to disease transmission, and what happens next with following that in our communities? We really have a very close relationship with all of our county clerks, the county clerk as well as all the municipal clerks that are working on the election. Like last spring, this fall we expect that really we are in a fortunate place. People are voting early, doing absentee ballots, and in those polling sites they've done really an amazing job to keep people safer given COVID-19. And we are not expecting an impact because of the election, but we certainly want people to be careful, to stay home if they are ill, to make sure that they are using a face covering when they are out, including at the election, even though it's not required to go in. We strongly encourage that to be people's practices. And we're confident that people can really do those things that will slow the spread of disease, even given the election. Any other questions? Good. Thank you for joining us today. Again, we'll be back via Facebook Live streaming on Wednesday. And please find ways to support one another and stay safer. Do those things that keep you active and engaged, and be 6 feet distance when you are encountering those in the community. Thank you.